guys, welcome back to Utterly Unfiltered with
Tash
and Cara. I just realised I don't have my glasses on.
Can you see a damn
Not
thing?
really. Do we need to? We just chat a lot
yapping.
of blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Actually, no. You're blah 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 blah, and I'm words of wisdom
And full of insightful
and
information.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you know that friends who insult each other are like something ridiculous, like 300% more likely to be like loyal and honest and friends for life?
Really?
Scientific study that I don't know where I read, but it exists.
Well, I mean,
You can fact check it, but it exists.
I insult you.
No, we should though. This is me saying we should insult each other.
We should start insulting
Yeah,
each other.
I hate your hair. No, I'm joking. Joking. I love your hair. It's meant to be playfully insult, not just berate each other.
No, I actually have like a thing on this. Like, you know, like the concept of banter.
Yes.
I am so anti-banter.
Really?
Like, I don't think banter's funny. Like, I think it's mean to be mean to people. Like, I don't mind like a light tease, but like, you know, people are like, oh, it's just banter, mate. I'm like, it's not just banter. No. You're just being rude.
When there's like hidden messages to it,
Yeah.
we often tease each other.
Yeah, but it's light-hearted.
That's the difference.
I think
what
like
I'm saying.
that's the difference between like teasing and banter. Like, people see banter as like they'll like take the they'll take the piss out of like their friends for like their choices. You know, like oh, like, you know, take the piss out of your friend.
Like classic Cara, like just. Yeah, classic Cara making a wild decision again.
Yeah.
That would send me spiraling.
Exactly.
Like, oh my god, do people think I'm
and
really
then people
like...
are like, oh, it's just banter, mate. It's like basically when like the insult is based off of something that's real. Mm-hmm. And then people call it banter. Like, that is genuinely what people call banter. Banter is not just like light-hearted jokes.
True.
Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like, for example, like when we were kids, we'd always make your hair into like Hagrid hair.
Oh yes.
It's like, that's like, it's like cute. It's cutesy. But if we were like on a daily basis, like, oh, here she comes again.
Hagrid.
Yeah, Hagrid's in the building. It's
You're
like,
a wizard, Harry.
it's like, that's not funny. That's mean. Yeah. Like, you know, like, it's funny to brush out your curls and make them into something different. But it's not funny to take someone's hair and then be like, no, that's what you look like.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Sure, there's a difference.
There's like a
subtlety
difference
to it.
between that.
And I think you have to have that specific relationship with someone where you know what their intent is.
Yeah.
But even so,
the intent, I don't know, I still wouldn't like it. Like, even if my intent was nice, if every time I saw you, I was like, oh, Hagrid's back.
Yeah,
That's not funny.
True.
Like...
That's true. No, you're right. But for sure. If like, because I am one for a little bit of like sort of jesting and lightheartedness. But
you can give it, but you can't take it.
No, I can take it to a point. But then I get really insecure and I need the verbal reassurance to counteract it. And I've really pissed off people with this in the past because I've been one to dish it out. And then they'll do the same. And again, like for weeks even, I will be like loving it. No, actually loving the interactions and laughing at myself. And I love that. But then if I'm just like, maybe it's my time of the month or something, like something has happened that I'm like a little bit less confident or I'm not sure how that person feels and we're a bit like, I'm not sure how to judge the relationship or whatever, like how close are we, then I'll be really fucking insecure about it and like I'll be doing that horrible thing of like seeking the reassurance.
Yeah, like, but do you really mean that though? Like,
no, I do that all the time. I hate it that I do it. Oh, I hate it so much, but I can't help it. And then even when they say like, no, of course I didn't mean it, doesn't reassure me at all.
You're like, but you said it though.
There's no,
Which is why I don't think it's worth it.
True.
Like, I just don't think it's worth it. Like, I feel like I have a lot of good friendships without banter, you know? Like, I don't need banter. I just don't think it's okay. I don't know
well, there's different forms of banter. If it's less personal, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just like a jest about, like, I don't know, like if like, because I'll tease myself about this kind of thing. Like, when I offered you soup. Yeah. It's like carton soup. Because we know I can't cook. Yeah. And if you were like, you know, that kind of thing. I think when it's not as personal, like when it's not attributes about you, like you said, like Hagrid hair, or if you were doing it on a daily, or me just insulting your hair jovially. I will add. I love your hair. Aren't you going to dye it again?
Yeah, I am.
Blonde.
About blonde again.
You're going blonde. Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm so excited to see what it looks like. Yeah.
In June. I was talking to Mum about this yesterday, and I was saying, like, I am a bit unsure. But everyone keeps telling me to go back blonde again, so I'm like...
Well, the worst that can happen is you don't love it, and then you just re-dye
stick a box dye on it again, exactly. I know, but it's got lots of money, so...
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's going to be taking me back to, like...
Literally years ago, so...
Enrique Iglesias was our first bonding point.
It was.
And doing our nails. Oh. I was pretending to be a nail girl.
I mean, you just
really
did your
not.
nails.
I just did, but
whilst...
like roughly. Look at that.
Cara, I'm going to take that microphone away from you in a minute.
Sorry, I hit it
genuinely
again.
am.
I know I did hit it.
You're not going to get one. I'm going to just
Sorry.
make you yell into the computer so that we can hear you. You don't get a microphone.
Oh. But you see, that's funny banter.
Yeah, but that's just a tease.
That was a great
I'm
little
not actually
example.
saying, Cara, you're useless
No,
at
but that's what I'm
everything.
saying. Well, okay, felt that.
Like, I feel like that would be like,
Did you
that's
mean
what
it
people...
though?
No, this is what I mean.
I'm joking.
That's what people would be like. You'd be like, oh, there you go again. You know, that's like what people call
Clumsy
banter.
Cara. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's what people
clumsy.
call banter. But I'm like, that's not funny. That's just mean.
That's true.
Whereas like me saying,
so
I'm going to take it away from you in a minute. I think that's obviously a joke.
But that's what I'm saying. There's the difference between like personal hurtful banter versus like we do this all the time. We like
I
we
wonder
rip
if-
each other for behaviors or actions as
Yeah.
opposed to who we intrinsically are as people. But yes, Enrique
Enrique
can we go back
Iglesias.
to him? 'Cause,
Sure.
oh my God,
What do you want to
beautiful
say
man.
about him? Tell
That's
us.
all. No, I don't want to say anything
You
else.
just want
I'm
to say the
leaving
word
it- I'm just
Enrique
leaving it there.
Iglesias. He is so hot, honestly. Did you hit that thing again? Oh my god.
Got excited about talking about Enrique. Oh, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm holding my tea up here.
I need to like refocus it so that it's like a little further away like this way, but then no. Then-
Okay.
No, it doesn't want to move. Oh god.
Oh, you've
no.
stuffed it out, haven't you? No, but it can't be the top, right? It has to come.
Oh.
It was fine. What did you
Fine,
do?
was it?
Well, I kept editing a bit. Okay, I'll just hold it now. Shall I?
There you go.
Perfect.
That's good. Honestly, I'm gonna have to put it in front of you instead. I think
Such actual
the
antics.
whole like diagonal thing is a little confusing because I talk into the front of mine.
Well, my mic is meant to be like stood up.
Uh
I think.
so
Like a normal, like a singing microphone, right? Because it's
you
actually a
sing in
singing
the-
microphone. No. Oh.
What about like if you look
Yeah,
at
you do
Taylor
sing at
Swift's
the top.
microphone, she sings into the front of it.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Not like this.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't think she sings like either of those ways, to be honest. But sure.
I was thinking of that bit where she goes, well, she goes,
What song is
I can't remember. It's really annoying me. Don't blame me. It's don't blame me. It's don't blame me. It's don't blame me.
Just sing over her, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, don't blame me. Your love made me crazy.
That's the
If
one.
Doesn't you ain't
Doing it
Doing
right.
it right.
How many times do you think on an episode of this podcast we have sung Taylor
I
Swift?
think we should do it every podcast.
We do
episode.
it so
We
often.
should do a medley.
Like
We should-
truly.
Yeah, we do. I'm sorry, guys. That's horrible.
I'm going to
for
put
you.
together a clip of like all the times in which we've sang Taylor
also,
Swift on
like,
the episode.
Can you analyze audience engagement per episode? Because I bet you we'd see a fall off after every time we sing. People are just like, I'm done with this shit. This
Like,
is
not
just
Taylor
horrible.
again.
I'm not inflicting this on my earlobes.
No. She's just so iconic though.
Oh, we love her. We do.
Okay, so today we were going to talk about, Cara wants to talk about romanticising your life.
Yeah, which we're gonna think of a funkier name to title it, right?
Yeah, but whatever we title it.
Love
it's basically
or-
about romanticising your life.
Yeah. And
So what are
thinking
your
deep
thoughts? Where's this come from today, Car?
Well, other than the fact that you were like, well, we don't have anything else, what can you think of?
Pure
and gave me
pressure.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
God. I think I am very much, and I don't know if it's like the creative in me, I love to think deeply about things. I love to experience and feel and overthink all of my emotional spectrum. Like from super sad to super happy to anxious to, like, I just feel it all, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it's a strength because I wouldn't want to lose touch with that sensitive side to me. Because I think I like channeling it, and when I do into like music and anything else, I think it serves me very well. But then oftentimes it doesn't serve me well at all, and I can't kind of see past and move through those emotions to get to somewhere a little bit more with more clarity. And then also I do find myself like I do romanticize life quite a lot, and I think it distracts me from the actual beauty that I have at the moment. And I've had conversations like this with other people too. Like, I love to, like, there's a poet that's on Instagram at the moment that I'm watching a lot of, and she's like, in English we say I love you, in poetry we say to the depths of my soul you are the one that I burn for, whatever, you know. Like, she's like, poetry and songwriting, I think art in general is all about taking that extra level of meaning and expressing life to its fullest. And I do love that, and it's something that I get so much satisfaction from consuming and creating in that way. But then oftentimes, like, I'll miss the fact that actually to simply say I love you can be a really powerful thing, you know, or to actually just like, I don't know, thinking about like looking outside, like if I actually kind of looked at the plants and analyze, you know, and I was like paid attention, I'd be like, that's actually is beautiful. It doesn't need an extra layer of being romanticized to make it mean something. I don't need to look at the leaves and think about how they spring from the earth and the oxygen they give us, and like I can just look at them and appreciate them for what they are.
Interesting.
You know? But I don't know. And then also it's relationships. It's the same. Like, do you ever imagine like conversations with someone, or like with music? I do a lot. Like I'll imagine like going on a radio station one day. It's a big radio station, and like I'll imagine what I'm saying, and like I'll picture it all. And that's the romanticism. Not so much love, right? But that's the romantic in me, like wanting things bigger than myself, wanting things bigger than I have.
Yeah.
And in a sense, I guess I do that when I meditate. I romanticize this idea of a higher version of myself that I'm speaking with and I'm communicating. And all of these things bring me comfort, but at the same time, it almost has the knock-on effect of making it less satisfying in the present of what I actually do have.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm not on a massive radio show, but I've had some songs out there.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm maybe not connecting with my higher self, whatever you believe, but I am spending time breathing and thinking about my body.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what's the balance of how much do we read into things and how much do we just let them be?
Well, it's very interesting because you've kind of touched on two different topics. They're touching on kind of the idea of romanticizing your daily life and the small things in life, but you're also talking about the concept of manifestation and romanticizing what you want your future to look like.
Sure, okay.
And the manifestation piece, I mean, I love what you're saying. Like, that's a good thing to do, to romanticize and to manifest it's to visualize the idea of what you want in the future. I'm on this talk show, people are asking me these kind of questions, this is my story, or I'm on this stage, I'm singing to these people, this is who they are. Like, that's definitely something you should do. Like, that's amazing, because that is, you know, how you create your reality. But with manifestation specifically, I'm not an expert in this, but something that I know to be true and to reiterate is that manifesting and visualizing your future only works if you first express gratitude for the present.
Yeah.
So you can't just think about, you can't go to bed at night, for example, and lay there and think, I can't wait for the day when, you know, BBC X calls me up and says, you know, like, we want you on the show because your new single, this kind of thing, like, you know, can you talk about it or whatever. I don't know what, I'm not into me, you know, I'm not down with the music.
Neither am I, because BBC X have never called me and said any of those things.
But this is what you're manifesting, right? This is like your future concept that you're looking for, right? You want that in your future. You're visualizing that, or whatever it is that you're visualizing in the future, whether it's singing on a stage of people and like they're really excited and they're singing along with their songs. They're singing along to your songs with you. But that's amazing. But first, you've got to lay there and think to yourself, I'm so grateful for those 10 people who showed up to that gig on Thursday or whatever. I'm so grateful for the times that the BBC Introducing played my songs.
Yes, okay.
I'm so happy and grateful that I've had this exposure. I'm so happy and grateful that I've been able to connect with these particular people. I'm so happy and grateful to see on my Spotify Wrapped that, you know, I was added to 20 playlists this year. I'm so happy and grateful to know that I have people who are listening to my music in Italy. Like, these things which are like, they are accomplishments. Like, that's you know, if I put out a song tomorrow, nobody in Italy would be listening to it, you know? Like, you need to build that, and you've built that over time. But just romanticizing and visualizing the future won't make you get there. You first have to say thank you for what you have now, and then be happy and grateful for what you're going to have in the future.
So it's about where you're coming from. I do actually have a gratitude book.
Yeah.
My friend bought me, along with The Secret, when she lent me the book, and then for my birthday she bought me the book. And it's a little notebook, but it's kind of, the prompts are the 2 pages, right? So on the left page, the prompt is what I'm grateful for now, and then what I will be grateful for. So even the things you're manifesting, you're assuming that they will come to fruition, and then you're being thankful for them, which I really love. I suppose, and I agree, I think, and the times where I do reflect and I'm grateful, even if it's those, like, think of 3 positive things about your day, you know, and when you sit with it and you experience it, you can alter your mindset. Like, you can override that negative default that seems to exist, and you have to work at it though. I often find, like, if I get out of the habit of practicing gratitude, then I don't feel positive and grateful. But put tangibly, so this is where sometimes I'm like, when I look at other people as well, and I think it relates to an earlier episode, we talked about, like, choice, when you have so much choice. And I think say in terms of relationships, right? So you could be with someone really fantastic and you've built something solid and you've got a solid foundation, and then I don't know, you meet someone at work, or you're on or a friend introduces you to a friend, or you've come across someone on socials or whatever, and then you romanticize that person and their potential. And I think that's where sometimes it can detract. Same with jobs, right? You romanticize a job, so you'll be searching through, like, say I've had a bad day at work, and then I'm on Indeed and I'm looking at jobs, and there's one that's like, oh cool, like I could be a musician in schools, I could teach, I could combine what I do for work and my passion, and it sounds great, and then I've romanticized what that's going to look like. And oftentimes those will be where it's like misleading for me. Like that's where I'll jump jobs, right? Or that's where like I want to try new hobbies because I'm like, oh, that kind of then didn't come, it wasn't how I anticipated it, and so now I want to try something else. So I'm always like imagining the best version of something else that I can have, as opposed to being grateful and reflecting on the best of what I currently have.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are in that trap.
Yeah.
It's easy to do when life is so difficult and stressful, and you see all the negative stuff all the time going on in the world. When you find something new and shiny, you're going to, like, I think we do have this tendency to maybe over appreciate what it's going to be like, and I do think it leads to dissatisfaction.
Definitely.
Anyway.
But I also think I agree with you, and I think, part of me wants to say that, like, in certain situations like that, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because at least it's growth. Like, I think that to be driven to want to try and experience new things isn't a negative, just because the grass might actually not be greener. And I don't like specifically mean, I think the relationships one's a little bit sticky because that's like people bonding with people, and like no relationship is perfect and no person is perfect. So that romanticized version, like it's the likelihood of that being true is like very slim. And you have to think about what you're giving up if you want to pursue it. If you're not happy in your current relationship and you meet someone who you think might make you happy, then I do think break up with that person and try it with the new one. Like, because there's obviously a reason why you're interested in that somewhere. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially if you're young. Like, definitely, like, go and date different people, try different things for sure. And with the job thing, like, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, for example, I left my job at Finimize and I went to another company which I thought would be better because they were going to pay me more and I was going to get more responsibility, and it ended up being shit, and I left after 3 months. But it wasn't like that was a step in the wrong direction. I don't regret it.
Okay,
because
you learned from it.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have been pushed if I was so unbelievably happy at that first job. I never would have left anyway.
Sure.
So it's like you can romanticize all you like, but if you're already happy where you are, you're never going to leave.
Can I introduce a challenge to that?
Sure.
What if you are as happy as you could be, but because you're not being grateful for what you have, that's what's making you not happy? So I'm not saying that in relation to your job.
No.
I'm actually saying it in relation to a job that I had, that I, on paper, was everything I could want. This is in occupational therapy. It was a community post. I was working from home. The team were like amazing people. Even now I'm in touch with them because they're so just nice, and the pay was great, and like my work-life balance was awesome.
Yeah.
Like I go for runs in the middle of the day because I'm home working, right?
Yeah.
Loved the like clientele I was working with. And then I felt like, and I was really positive about it in the first few months, but then I had this sort of music bug, and I was like, well, what if I could be doing more music, and what if that's the direction I need to take, and I've never tried it, let me try it. Again, I don't regret it, so I think maybe this is where maybe your point kind of comes into play. But at the same time, how do I know that I wasn't happy in that job versus I just wasn't paying enough attention to my happiness in that job? Same as with relationships, right? What if you think, oh, I'm spending time with a friend, I'm spending a lot of time with a friend, but actually like, we're not getting on super well, and like I don't leave feeling like the most positive, and and I do think you should trust your intuition with that kind of thing. But what if you're also like not appreciating all of the laughs that you're having, or not because I think sometimes when you analyze things, and this is what I mean when I overanalyze and over romanticize, I think of this version of jobs, relationships, houses that probably will never exist, and that makes me doubt the current relationships, jobs, houses that I have in my life.
Yeah, but I think so.
What is happiness, I guess?
Yeah, to pull into the job one though, you talked about. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how happy that job made you or how much you liked it. It's not what you want to do with your life. So you're never going to feel satisfied in it. You're just not. It's just unrealistic. Unless you can sit here and say, you know what, screw the music. I can be an occupational therapist for the rest of my life. Then in that case, yes, obviously, then that would have been the perfect job. But it wasn't the perfect job because you weren't a musician.
True on the job front, for sure, and I didn't identify with it. Never have. I think that was part of the issue. I think my question, because I was trying to form it as I was chatting, was do we have happiness or do we create happiness? Like, do we just find a job that's naturally, or a relationship that's naturally, au fait with who we want to be, and that makes us happy? Or do we find a job in a relationship that's maybe not everything, but it's all the important things that we want, and then we work at it and we make ourselves happy?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the balance?
I mean, it's a good question. I think people will have different opinions on it. I think, and this is interesting because I wouldn't say that I am someone who romanticizes things, but I personally don't think you should settle for anything that's why I'm constantly trying to work out what I want to do with my life. Otherwise I would just go to my job every single day and be like, well, it's not the worst job in the world. I do get to work from home, people are reasonably nice, the pay's reasonably good, I could just be happy with this. But I know I wouldn't be happy if I did this every single day for the rest of my life. It doesn't matter how many times I reframe it to myself. Oh, it could be worse. I could be having to go into the office 5 days a week. I could have a nightmare boss. I could be getting paid less. It doesn't matter how I reframe it. It's still never gonna tick all those boxes. Sure. And I believe the same thing with friendship. I think if there are millions of people out there are millions of jobs out there, there are millions of opportunities out there, I don't think we should limit ourselves just because we don't want to ask too much.
True. I agree.
Yeah.
There's a balance there, right? Because you can't just discard, especially with people, right?
Yeah.
With friends, like you say. I think you made the same point, so I'll just re-emphasize it. With no one's perfect, so relationships are not, you're never going to have that full. So I guess it's knowing what to invest in, right? It's knowing what's worth working at and getting all the potential from jobs, relationships, and what's worth, okay, this isn't for me, this person's not for me, this house is not for me, this country's not for me, let me find something else. It's and how do you find that? Is that intuition? Is that your past experience? Is that sitting and making pros and cons? I'm not asking these questions because I think for everyone it's different.
Yeah.
I think for me it's intuition. I've never been one. People have always given me the advice, which I've tried, but it just doesn't resonate. Is the pros and cons list.
Yeah.
I can't do that because I could see 10 cons and I could see 3 pros, but the 3 pros mean more to me than the 10 cons.
Yeah.
So for me it doesn't balance out anyway.
No, I agree.
I hit it again, I'm sorry. But I only hit the chord this time.
Oh, it'll still have made a sound.
Oh no. This whole episode's gonna be
I agree though, because I am a pro-con person.
Yeah.
I write pro-con lists.
Yeah, you're pragmatic.
But I use both, so it's pro-con and intuition.
Okay.
That's the combination for me, at least, is yes, I'll work out a pro-con, to be practical. When I moved jobs, I worked out, right, I'm sacrificing my, they had a really good pension scheme, so I'm sacrificing that, but I'm getting more in this. So what does that equal out to? What's the minimum viable amount of money that I would change job for? Okay. I did all the maths and everything.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I also was just I am not someone who can say no to an opportunity. I know myself as well. And I think some people, if you're comfortable in your situation and it's not making you, it's making you happy 90% of the time, then that's good. Then you're winning. You should stay in that situation. But if you're spending your whole time thinking about something else, it's that nagging feeling.
Yeah.
If you have the idea every now and then, maybe there could be more.
That's probably normal.
Well, it's normal. We all feel that,
yeah.
But if you have that constant nagging
Pulling
feeling of this isn't right, I always leave the situation feeling drained, or I just don't feel like this is what I want to do, or I don't feel like this person is the right person for me, or whatever it is. If it's consistently nibbling at you, the answer is probably that you're correct. It's not for you. Yeah.
Interesting. So maybe it's it's sort of the duration of time that you've experienced those negative feelings, or it's like you say, the proportion of am I I don't know if you could quantify it, but am I sort of feeling 10% more positive about myself when I leave a situation, or am I feeling 10% more negative
about
the situation? I suppose it's trying to but that's always, it's tricky. It's
It
tricky when there's
is.
so many influences.
And it's what's the minimum for you as well is like different to other people. So like, you know, for me at the moment, like I know I need to save some money, so therefore I know I can't afford to just do whatever the hell I want. I need to commit something and be practical.
Sure.
And the joy is that on the 25th of every month I get a nice paycheck.
Yeah.
And I can just think about that. Like that can be my focus. That's my motivation. That works for the short term. That doesn't work for your whole life, you know? So unless you are someone who's hugely money motivated.
Yeah.
So I'm not hugely money motivated, but I know I need money right now.
Sure.
So it's like, this is for my goals.
Sure.
So I know I have to make myself money motivated in that way. But other people are completely money motivated and they're okay to work a job that's just a job that pays them really well, so they can get other things. And I think we've talked about this in our career episode and stuff as well, but you know, what we all want is different. You know, if you have loads of time, if you're someone who, okay, I don't know, you're at uni or something, and you love to go out, but your best friends are more like home birds, but there's a group of friends who you don't like as much, but and you don't bond with them just as much, but they're reasonably nice, you know, you sometimes they can be a bit annoying or whatever, but they love to go out as well. It's like, well, that's amazing then. You've got those people you can then go out with and have a great time with. But like that's serving you for that season in that way, and that's a win. So you don't have to overthink or romanticize, or maybe there's better out there. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe you need to go and find a society or something where there is like different kinds of people, or go, you know, you chat to somebody in the bathrooms at the club and actually get their Facebook account or whatever, or their Instagram account this time round, you know, because you like them. Facebook account, I'm so old, honestly.
Genuinely, I have so many random people over the years, more so at school, that I connect with on socials that I met in bathrobes that I would never speak to.
I know, it's such a girl thing.
Oh my god, it's such a girl thing.
Well, I don't do that. I'm
nice
so
to each other, but it's
antisocial.
always like it feels like anyway. That's a whole thing.
But you know, like there's different reasons for it. So I think you have to just think like, are you lacking, and can you be bothered to go and find it? Do you know what I mean?
So part of it is realizing what you're lacking, but the other part of it is not coming at it from a lack perspective. It's coming at it from a gratitude, look at everything I have perspective.
Yeah.
That's kind
and
of
also the abundance of life. There are other people out there. There are other, like, it's, I don't think we should, let's say, I don't think we should limit ourselves, because I think that we do that all the time, is we think what we have is the only thing we can get. And we think that the only way it can get better is that one step up, you know? The only other job is that one promotion from junior to senior manager. What?
I'm going to counteract you again.
Go on, do it.
I agree. But I think there has to be a limit to that because of everything we've said in the past about too much choice. And I do think there are certain types of mentalities you can get into where you keep thinking, the next thing, I'll be happy when.
Yeah.
I'll be happy when I move relationships. I'll be happy when I get a promotion. And actually, you're not always happy when oftentimes, especially if you're, that's my word of choice today, oftentimes.
Oftentimes.
I love it.
It's a good word.
That's a good word. I think if you're in that sort of just like rat race of bigger and better and bigger and better and more and more and more and more, I don't necessarily think you're going to find happiness. I think it's also the grass, I know we love this, the grass is green where you water it. I know that it's also, I think my thing is like, and there's no answers to it right now, but it's just the struggle of where's the balance with that? Where is the balance with, okay, I know that I want to do more music, so I'm going to focus and spend more time doing music, versus I took a year off to do music and, you know, arguably I was actually in a better place, but it could have easily gone the other way and actually I wasn't. And then I keep thinking like, oh, let me try this and this and this and this. So it's like the balance of striving for more when you know that you deserve it, but also not trying to see through the inundation of different opportunities that we always now have at our fingertips and wanting to do all of it because we can.
Yeah, I completely agree, but I think it depends on what you're bouncing to. So it's like if you're working in finance but you know you actually want to be an artist, but you're like, but maybe I'll be happy in this if I get this job in finance, maybe I'll work as an account manager at a art company or a branding company or something like that, you know, like you're like, oh well, maybe I'll just like move myself slightly in that direction, and you keep jumping because you're like, well, maybe if I get slightly closer I'll be a bit happier. I don't think you're going to get happier that way. So I agree. I don't think you should just keep jumping ship in the wrong direction.
Okay, so it's in the right direction and for the right reasons.
Yeah, I think instead it's like, rather than focusing on, you know, applying for all those different jobs in that area and, you know, looking at all this different stuff in that area, what could I do in that area when the area is wrong? It's like, how can you add more of the right area into your life? I'm not saying quit that job and go become an artist. I'm saying, how can you, maybe you want to step down in a role so that you have more free time to do the art stuff. Maybe it's going backwards to go forwards. Yeah, but you're going forwards in the direction that feels intuitively correct to you.
But that's where your brain and intuition have to meet and come together. And that's where you have to sort of filter your intuition, because your intuition will be screaming at you, I want to be an artist, not an accountant.
Yeah.
But you have to then logically know what steps to take to do that, as opposed to, I'm just going to quit and just go and
right? And I don't think that's the right
meet.
method either. Yeah, unless you have a huge amount of money to fall back on and you don't have any like responsibilities, in which case bloody well go for it. Life is short. Why the hell not? But if you do have responsibilities and things, then think about a way in which you can add more into your life rather than take away.
But I suppose you already action the brain intuition a meetup, because if you mentioned about your pros and cons lists, like you'll do that and then you'll sit with the feeling too.
Yeah.
And I think maybe what we do, or what some people do when they come from a fear perspective, is they're all brain, they're all mind and fear and logic and like, oh, but I have to pay these bills and I've got kids and I've got a mortgage and I can't do that and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Versus intuition, if it was like over the scales of intuition, would probably just be like, I'm just going to do what makes me happy right now and fuck all the consequences and then I'll just keep jumping ship and I'll find it someday.
Yeah.
So maybe they need to sort of like interact, and there needs to be
absolutely
some conversation between the two.
And I think there also is always going to be some kind of sacrifice there as well. So like, whether it is like, you know, you're earning a little bit less money because you're dropping down or something so that you have more time to do the thing that you want. So you have to decide, I mean, are you willing to do that sacrifice, you know? Like maybe, you know, like for example, I used to go on holiday a couple times a year, but you know, I didn't do that last year or whatever. And that's because I didn't have that money saved, because I didn't want to work in the job I didn't like. It's like, okay, I made a sacrifice. Like that's fine. Like I'm happy to do that for the thing that I want to do. But like if you're not willing to, then maybe it's just not the thing you want to do. I think sometimes as well, it's like we might have these ideas, and I'm definitely one who falls for this. Like I have these ideas of like, oh, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. But it's an idea that's based on like something very abstract to me. It's not based on the, you know, what feels completely correct to me. It's based on, I saw somebody else do it and it looks like fun. Or I, you know, for example, wouldn't it be amazing to be an influencer who gets loads of, you know, free goods and goes on brand trips and all that kind of stuff? That sounds lovely. I'd love to get free makeup, free clothes, go to Bora Bora, all that shit. But I'm actually not willing to sacrifice anything to get to that point. Okay. So therefore, it's not actually something I'm ever going to strive to do. So there's no point me walking in that direction, as much as I might like the outcome.
Yeah.
No, wouldn't it be amazing to be a pop star? I can't sing. Yeah. So like...
But I've experienced that before in other ways too, like even in like outfits, you know, we're talking previous podcasts about like what we want to like, you know, want to do color matching and what kind of suits us and stuff and what we feel comfortable in. And I've done it so many times where I've looked at other people in my life, like actual people, but actual people, like in real life and on social media, and I've wanted to be like, I wish I could like pull that off, like I wish, and I'll try, and it's just not me.
No.
And it's funny how you just know instantly when you try these things, like what works, what doesn't. Same with jobs, I guess. It's like until you're in it and you feel and you experience it and you are able to judge better whether it is true to who you are. Sometimes it's the only way to know. So that's why I do think the experimentation process is a good thing, and I would never discourage people from doing that. I think for me, I'm just like, I'm either like so worried about everything, which is when I go back into like full-time work, or I'm just romanticizing everything, which is when I'm like, I'm going to quit and I'm going to do music again. Yeah. And I need to figure out how to find a balance. So that I'm doing something that I'm working in the right direction for, but I'm not too chaotic with it. Yeah. And that it's not damaging me.
But I think as well, like, I mean, if you think back, I know it's hard because the journey often, like, some bits go quickly and some bits go long. But if you look back to when you first started doing music, it wasn't like you immediately left school and were like, I'm not even going to go to uni. You've wanted to do music for years. You've always been musical. It's not just something that came in the last few years. Yeah. So you still went to uni, you still got a job, you still did all these other things, and the music was on the side, and you built up yourself to a place where you were like, no, actually, I could do this full time. And that was because you tried, can I write songs? Do I enjoy doing it? You know, can I play these musical instruments? I need to learn how to use the guitar. let's go to some gigs. You did gigs, you did concerts. Do you enjoy performing on a stage? So these are all things you need to discover before you jump into something.
True.
So if you want to change career, if you want to do something different, go shadow someone for a day. Go contact someone on LinkedIn who has a job that you want to do, and message them and be like, can you tell me a little bit about what your day-to-day looks like? I'm interested in a career change.
Yeah.
Like, do you mind jumping on a 15-minute call with me? Like, I'd love to like quiz you about what you do. Like, you can, those options are available. Do that first before you jump in the deep end, 100%.
And I think that's key, is that you're actually preparing for the change.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about it logically enough to know that, you know, when you go and embark on that experience or that job or that relationship, you know what you're wanting to get out of it. And if you're not getting out of it what you need, then you know then that that's not for you.
Yeah.
But I think it's like being able to actually analyze it enough, and that's where I need to get better at, really, because like I say, I'm just very romanticized, and I just think that my future is written in the stars, and everything that I'm doing now will just, you know, fall into my lap.
But you also forget all the stages that got you to where you are. You know, you forget how nervous you were for your first concert. You forget, like,
you came to my first. Remember my
first
first
festival? Yeah, that was up Norfolk somewhere, wasn't it?
Jesus, yeah. I didn't even bring a mic. I didn't even bring a guitar lead.
Didn't you? I remember
They had
that.
to find one for me.
That's so cute.
Oh my god,
I love that.
Wow.
Yeah,
how times change.
Sorry, try it
I
again.
know.
Yeah, you just forget all the stages that came first. So I think, like, it might feel to you like, oh, it's jumping off the deep end, but like actually there's a lot of pre-work that goes into those things. So I think nurture that pre-work for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we're slightly off topic as per usual from...
No, it was good.
You
I
liked
really
it?
enjoyed that, actually.
Good.
I did a lot of self-reflection. I love the podcast apps that we do where I'm like reflecting as I go, because I
Well,
find them really beneficial.
You know what I was thinking to myself during this episode? I was like, because you literally started this episode by saying, you know, you're someone who thinks really deeply about things and you like to analyse stuff. And I was thinking to myself, Car, why don't you write any bloody podcast episodes? So going forward...
Oh, God.
Going forward...
How did this turn into a job for me?
I'll do 2, you do 1. Okay? So when we record 3 episodes, I'll plan 2, you plan 1.
Oh, that's fair.
I think that's fair, isn't it?
I've got an idea for one.
Because I feel like there's so many good things that you think about, and some of my favourite episodes are ones where you've been like, can we talk about this? Because I've been thinking about this recently.
Well, no, likewise with you, because because it's things that are actually currently relevant to us in the moment. I think we have a lot to say about it.
It's easier to dig into. So we just need to like catch those more often.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like if we split that responsibility a little bit, then maybe we can make that work better.
Yeah.
Make a more engaging podcast for you guys. Hope you enjoyed our deep dive today.
Thanks, guys. Tash needs to leave now so they can go and get ready.
Yes.
Because I have to leave as well.
I'm going to go get some coffee and some bread. I love you too.
Hope you get your sourdough.
Oh, I'm so excited. And thank you for another good sesh of podcasting. You signing off for 6 weeks. Bye.
Bye.